we all have some instinctual understanding of good versus bad design. To some extent, you can feel the difference. When a design is bad, it sticks out like a sore thumb. It puts words into your head. As soon as you run into a bad design, you start going, why is this like this? Why is this like this? This is so frustrating. This could be fixed. You just have to do this differently, and then boom, it's better. You just have to do this differently, and then wow, now it's functional. Now it's smooth. Now it's an enjoyable experience. But instead, I have to deal with this frustration. Maybe that's just me, but I feel like most of us have had that experience at some point. Maybe you're trying to cancel a subscription, right? I won't go too deep into this because I don't want to make you frustrated just thinking about it. But the process to cancel some subscriptions is inherently and intentionally bad. It's poorly designed to make you not want to interact with it, right? It's poorly designed to keep you from doing it. Now, good design can also be noticed, but it's a little bit trickier. It's a little quieter. It doesn't shove words into your brain and thoughts into your brain in the way that bad design does. When you interact with bad design, you're thinking about it. When you interact with good design, you're experiencing it, but you may not be thinking about it, right? You go through it and you go, oh, that's nice. That might be the only thought you have. You might go, oh, that was smooth, or oh, I didn't expect that to be that simple. Or it might just be a door that you walk through that you don't even notice that, oh, that was a good door. Or like a cup that you use. It's just a good cup. And you go, oh, yeah, no, I just like this cup. You never think, why do I like this cup? What is it that makes this design excellent? By the way, if this is something that fascinates you, there's a book called The Design of Everyday Things. I believe that's the title. If not, it's very close to that. There's a few different editions of it, so get a more recent one because apparently some of the older ones can be pretty tough to read. But there's a book called The Design of Everyday Things, which I've only read a little bit of, but I was fascinated by, and it's on this topic, so highly recommend if this interests you. This whole thing of something that is well designed is so worth noticing. The bad stuff's worth noticing too, don't get me wrong, but it's easy to notice. I think we have to practice. We have to pay a little extra attention to our feelings when we experience something well designed. We have to go, oh, that feels nice. Wait, that feels nice. Why is that so smooth? Why is that such a nice design? And we can look at it a little bit if we want to. But there's that quick, brief, ooh, that was a smooth experience, which can be a little tricky to catch, except for in cases of phenomenal design. Sometimes something is so incredibly well designed that if you have experienced things like it in the past, you cannot help but be just transfixed by how well designed it is. You will be like, I can't believe that they've pulled that off. That's incredible, right? Anyway, I'm your host, Chris. This is Game, Develop, Repeat. Let's take the time to talk about some design. There are so many amazingly designed games out there. And I mean, to some extent, that's what this podcast is it is a love letter to these amazing games. It is an attempt to focus on the good design elements in games that I love. And let's grab one example for a moment to just talk about how deep you can dive in the extraction of good design inspiration from a single game. Celeste is crazy. Every time I play this game, I get deeper. I have an episode on Celeste that's like, oh, this game is great. It has a great emotional journey. The mechanics are really smooth. The level design is incredible. Great, cool, done. When I first played through that game, that's how I felt. I was like, wow, what an incredible emotional journey. I've had a great time with it. Now that I've spent a lot more time with it on stream, I'm looking at it and I'm going, how did they design these levels? Every once in a while I play a level in Celeste and I go, that's blowing my mind. I don't understand how they came up with that like pseudo puzzle speed running level. It's phenomenal, the things that they've done with the toolkit they established for themselves. And then I start going, wait, the toolkit that they built for themselves. They designed the toolkit before they designed the levels. And some of these are going to be designed like in concert with each other, right? Simultaneously. This is why making a game is such a complicated and messy process, is because things have to evolve as you're doing it. You're never going to know everything before you actually try to make it. But my God, as soon as you start thinking about the fact that they had to design not just the levels, but the tools behind the levels, and that those two things are so intricately connected, and then you've got the sound effects and the player feedback and the technical design of everything and making sure that it's bug-free, you're going, there's a lot of really good design hidden away in this game that I know nothing about. And all it does is it makes a smooth, really enjoyable experience. And there are so many games like this. There are so many games like this. It is a marvel. I recently just played Just Shapes and Beats on stream, and it was another one. It was one where I was like, boy, if I dug deep into this, I would probably be playing this game a lot, because there's a lot of room to just keep enjoying it. And it's the music synchronizes with the gameplay so phenomenally and in such a powerful way that I'm sure there are just layers and layers of good design going on. I mean, some of the levels are essentially music videos for the songs that you've got going on, and then there's different difficulty levels that you can do, and so on and so on. Phenomenal. You look at a game like Forager with its bright flashing lights all the way through the game. There's a good one. And it's got this progression system that is designed to just keep moving and rolling forward. And I don't know how they made it so compelling and cheerful at the same time. That is a game that wants you to never stop playing once you start. Thankfully, the game had an end, at least when I played it. There are little things that add up to make a smooth and seamless experience. And the real beauty of phenomenal design is that they manage to establish a personality, a character, some kind of artistic merit, and simultaneously remove all annoying obstacles, right? You think of getting rid of all of the obstacles and you go, it's going to have no personality. It's going to be this like design by committee thing. It's going to be annoying. It's going to be frustrating. Like, I need there to be some kind of texture to this game. And I think sometimes in the AAA space, there are games that are free of obstacles to the point of losing some degree of charm, right? If the game is too easy because it's just follow the quest line, it may not have the same appeal to you as a game that has a bit more confusion embedded in it and a bit more challenge embedded in it. But somehow you can make a game that still has these moments of challenge, that still has these moments of difficulty and frustration and all of this stuff that feels so smooth and so seamless. And that is what makes you go, how did they do this? That is my cue. When I play a game that feels so good and has moments of challenge that still feel good, when I play a game that just makes me go, wow, this is incredible, I wonder how they did this. That's when I know that I am looking at a collection of phenomenal design. Now, here's another angle. What if you play a game that's pretty good, but isn't doing that? What if you play a game where you just go, I wish I wasn't like, this is really annoying. This is really annoying. That's in my way. Because that happens. There have been games where I'm like, I want to enjoy this, but this is in my way. This is in my way. And I can start critiquing and I can start going, I don't like this sound design choice. It's bothering me. Like, I don't like this thing. It's bothering me. And this other thing is in my way too. But I'm going to invite you to do this. Start farming those for good design ideas too. Because the game that has a few major flaws also has stuff that's making it a great game. It's just that there's a few flaws that are sticking out to you and getting in your way. If it's something that you're capable of looking past, maybe not even fully ignoring, but just look past it for a little bit and go, what else is there in here? Is there something cool? Are there interesting design ideas in this game? You might find some really important and really powerful ideas. There's a reason that some games have this strange reputation where some people are like, "Ugh, I just can't get into it. I don't know. I can't get into it. It's driving me crazy. It's not that good." And other people are like, "I will put my life on the line for this game. This is my favorite thing ever. I absolutely love it." Sometimes it's just taste in terms of story and other things, and sometimes it's this design element is bothering me and it's enough to break the game, and then the other person goes, "Oh, just get past that. If you just get past that, you're going to love it so much." Um games like Gothic, like old school games that have like some janky controls that don't make sense because they were still figuring out how controls work, they have some interesting ideas to bring to the table, right? Even the control scheme, I barely played Gothic. I got in just enough to finally figure out how to pick things up and then attack things. And I was like, "Oh, wait, this control scheme is interesting." And once I got in that deep, I went, "Oh, wait, no, this is like a whole alternative history of gaming. We could have gone down this control path instead of like the WASD thing." Well, not universally, but for this type of RPG. Because as soon as I started to use it, I was like, "No, this is well thought out. This is good design. This is really good design. It's just not what I was expecting." So point being, sometimes, the cue is this game is incredible, and then you start looking into it for design inspiration. And sometimes the cue is this game is frustrating me. I wonder what really good design is being covered up by these things that are frustrating me. Why is this frustrating? There must be something about this game that I want to experience, that I wish I could enjoy, and something else is getting in my way. So what is it that I wish I could enjoy? Is it just the aesthetic? Sometimes it's just the aesthetic. But is there something about the combat? Is there something about the class system? What is this potential that drives you crazy? This is why Final Fantasy VIII lives rent-free in my head and probably always will. I can't stop thinking about the potential of Final Fantasy VIII. It drives me crazy. I think about it way too often. This is why I think about the loading screens in Final Fantasy IX so often, because it's like a 15-second load to get into a battle, and I'm like, why did this happen? What have they done to my boy? Why did they do this to this game? Probably because of technological limitations. I've still beaten that game, and it's great. Great soundtrack. Oh, my God. But anyway, I'm getting so off track. Some of this can become overwhelming. You look at all these games and you go, how are all these games so good? How are all these games so incredible? There's so much good stuff to learn from these. How in the world am I supposed to take these lessons from these incredible games that I've been looking at, and how am I going to apply this design stuff to my own projects? It's too much. It's too intimidating. Well, I think the trick is to do it one step at a time and not do too much analysis. But let's talk about that a little bit in this next section. So you've gained the curse of knowledge. You've played Celeste. You've played Hollow Knight. You're looking at it and you're going, "Oh my God, I will never know how they did that. That's insane." You've seen somebody just be a freaking master at something, and you're going, "How in the world am I supposed to design anything after really sinking my teeth into that?" Well, easy. You just do one thing. You just do one thing, right? I think one of the dangers of trying to learn from others, like brilliant work, is you're just looking at the end product and you're not looking at the process, and you're going, "Oh, how could anybody ever do that? How did anybody ever do that?" Well, they were a master and here I am. They became a master while they were making that, and they just had some standard, and now you have a little peek into that standard. You have a little peek into what they were shooting for, because you've seen the end product. You've seen the what is possible. You've watched someone break the 5-minute mile. You've watched somebody pull off something that seemed impossible. And maybe not in terms of the full scope of the game, right? If you're doing solo dev, maybe just in terms of intelligent design decisions. Maybe just in terms of like, oh, my UI could be better. And I totally have the ability to make a UI that feels nice and mechanical, and like I love a good mechanical feeling UI, something that's got a nice click clack to it as you go from one thing to the next. It feels like it's got solid buttons. You click it and the sprite on the button really like has an impact, and maybe you get a nice sound effect. This kind of thing. You'll develop your feel for what you want specific details to look like, and then you can just chase it. Don't worry about what it's going to be 3 years from now. Worry about what it's going to be when you finish this element of it, or when you've worked on it for a couple more days. Just keep moving forward with it. You guys know this. You're out here creating stuff. You know that to some extent you're familiar with this process. Even if you haven't started jumping in on whatever big game you're making or whatever. You've gone through school, you're in school, you've made something at some point in your life, and you've gone through the process of being bad at something and getting good at it. That's a guarantee. Every one of you has gone through that process in some element of your life. And you just weren't thinking about it this much. You just weren't thinking about, oh, how am I going to, now that I've seen what's possible, how am I ever going to get there? Don't worry about getting there. Just start making a thing, and then you'll see what's possible for you, which is a lot if you just keep working on it. But I think it's overwhelming to look at other people's good designs. If you're just looking at everything, let me offer you two different perspectives here. If you're looking at somebody else's game that they've created, and you're looking at it as a whole, and you're going, how did somebody create this thing, this whole incredible project? I look at Stardew Valley, I go, oh my God, that's one man made this. This is phenomenal. But if you just look at the inventory system in Stardew Valley, if you just look at the plots of land and how do I make this dirt get dug up 1 square at a time, that's doable, If you just look at the music side of things, even, well, that can be a little overwhelming, but maybe you look at one song and then you learn enough about that one element, right? You learn about the inventory system. You learn about the way that's managing time. You implement that one thing that you really are excited about, and then you're going to start going, what can I do with this? What can I do with this cool thing that I just learned? Ooh, you know what else I'm excited about? I'm not trying to clone this game, but you know what else I really like is I actually really like I like bullet hell games, and I've got this idea for a bullet hell game that involves this kind of like inventory system that I just learned how to do. So now I know how to put an inventory system into a bullet hell game. Let's go. And then you start imitating a little thing that you love out of a bullet hell game, and you go, ooh, here's this nice little combination of ideas. And you just keep experimenting and putting things together and learning. And then before you know it, you look at a game and you go, oh, that looks like a really big project. That could take, that could take me years. But you're not saying, notice how different that is. You're not saying, how does anybody ever do that? Now you're looking at it and you're going, ooh, that could take me years. In other words, I can do that, right? Because you've proven to yourself, I can do these difficult things. I can digest somebody else's like design concept and learn how to do it in my own way. And before you know it, you're out there making full-on things. So that's the other angle, right? There's the angle of looking at the whole project and getting overwhelmed with it and going, how does anybody ever make anything? Oh my God, blah, blah, blah. And there's the element of just looking at a small piece of something that you admire, whatever that little design element is that you're most excited about, or even just like kind of interested in. Just lock in on one of those and go, I'm just going to make that. I'm just going to make that. Apparently today I'm in the mood to try to convince people to make stuff, which I guess is generally what I do. But I'm excited because people in the community have been making things. And I've been making things. And I just love, look, you know what? Okay, let me give you this really quickly. You know what my greatest reluctance is with creating this podcast and creating a Twitch stream and considering putting out content on YouTube and all of these things. My reluctance is I worry that it could prevent people from creating things somehow, right? I worry that it could be a distraction that takes time away from creating things. I, more than anything, want this channel, want this podcast, whatever, this Discord, all of this stuff to serve to motivate you to take some creative risks. And also, I just want to talk about the games that I love because that is just so freaking cool, right? Like, there's so much cool stuff out there. So, having said that, let's wrap things up, ask you a couple questions like we always do at the end of the episode, and send you on your merry way to make stuff. I've got 2 questions for you. First one, what is a game that you really admire the design of? And is there a specific part that stands out? It's pretty wide open. Lately, I really admire the design of Hollow Knight, and I really admire the world design, the way that the world is designed in that game, the way you keep discovering things and how open it is. It's fascinating. Now, that would be a major project to take on. That would be pretty tough because it's kind of a... that's part of why I admire it so much, actually, because it's wild how well they've managed this large scope and like kept it very explorable and open and interesting. But anyway, that's my answer. What's your answer? Next question is, what is a game that you wish was just a little smoother of an experience? And within that, there's a fork in the road here. You can look at it and go, what do I love about that game? What is an interesting design choice in that rough experience? What is it that I'm interested in the game anyway? Or you can look at it and go, how would I redesign one of these parts that's a little frustrating for me? And that's everything. That's it for the week. Hey, somebody in the community, Blue Light Forge, has made a game called Realm Survivors. Still working on it, still in progress, but he is running a test for it. If you want to do play test, it's up just for this week. I think he takes it down on like the 23rd. So it's September 2024 right now. So I think September 23rd, 2024 is when it gets taken down. But if you want to take a look at that, Realm Survivors, you can just request access. I'm sure he'll give you access to it. And he's got a Discord that you can give feedback on as well. That is the shout out. I got the Twitch channel. You know the deal. Anxious Buddha Games. You can email me too if you want to. anxiousbuddhagames@gmail.com. But that's everything. Get out there, make some stuff, and have fun with it. Have a good week. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.